All right, so welcome again, once again to class. It's a new week, it's Monday, the 21st of July. Okay, so today we're going to be looking into networking, or should I say, networking. We're looking at REST APIs. Yeah. Okay, so this is Flutter docs. I know I actually recommended this platform to you guys when we actually started. Yeah, you can actually make references to this document when it comes to Flutter in general. Okay, building mobile applications that have to do with Flutter, whether for Android or for iOS. Okay, so now in this document, it says cross-platform HTTP network. I'm just going to run through this, although it doesn't really say much, but just the essentials you need to know. Some platforms require additional steps as detailed below. Now, the platform is referring to is platforms like your appetize.io, okay? Because when you're going to be submitting or uploading your next app that has to do with fetching data from a database, okay, or from the internet, from a server, you need to add or declare this inside of your mobile application. It's usually in, let's say, I'm going to open particular, okay, I'll show you anyway. So here it says uses permission, Android name, Android permission, internet. So more like giving your device access to internet, okay? Because if you should do that, if you should upload your APK without actually giving permission to internet, it will not display that data when you try to run your emulator on Appetize. Same for some other platforms too, all right? So that's what you need to know about this. Let's look at fetch data from the internet. Okay, fetching data from the internet is necessary for most apps. Luckily, Dart and Flutter provide tools such as the HTTP package for this type of work, all right? So the recipe uses the following steps. Add the HTTP package, all right? Make a network request using the HTTP package, convert the response into a custom data object, fetch and display the data with Flutter, all right? So this is how you add. If you're using getX, there's a way you can add just pop Flutter pop add HTTP, all right? Flutter pop add HTTP. Once you copy this and paste in your terminal, click enter. It installs it into the popsec.yaml file, all right? And this is the import. You import it when you implement it. Okay, we talked about this earlier. If you're deploying to Android, edit your Android manifest.xml. You'll see that in your Android folder. When you check very well, you see that in your Android folder, Android manifest.xml, you see this here. So look for that and you'll be able to place that. Then this is for iOS, for those using or deploying to iOS. Now, make a network request. Now, it says this recipe covers how to fetch a sample album from the JSON placeholder using the http.get method, all right? So if you actually go through this documentation, all right, after now, you'll see the whole process run down from top to the bottom. But first of all, let's just get a little bit to understand the basics, yeah, before trying to say you want to make a network or you want to fetch data or post data or update data or delete data. All right, so there's something that is called REST API. Okay, so REST means representational state transfer. all right? Representational state transfer, REST, yes. So it's a standard API architecture, all right, for the web. You need to know this. So it helps us integrate server-side programs with client-facing applications in the form of microservices, all right? So these microservices are functions written on the server side that can be executed by making HTTP requests from the client, all right? That's on the server side. Now, on the server side is more like the back end, where you don't see. The only thing you see is the client side, which is what you see here, all right? On your screen is the client side. You as the viewer, what you see on the screen, you're referred to as the client side. But what happens behind the scene, all right, on the server, on the back end, that's referred to as the server side, okay? Now, in Flutter, we can make a HTTP request by using any one of the available networking libraries, all right? Now, I told you about libraries, and here it was made mention that you need HTTP package. This is a library. Another library is DIOP library, DIO, all right? I think you have that, let's see here, DIO library. If I should go and search for DIO, yeah, a powerful HTTP networking package supports interceptors, aborting and canceling a request. All right, so on and so forth. So this is another library. All right, so since we're actually using the GetX ecosystem, so we can also use the GetX, all right, internal networking library called GetConnect. All right, but I'm not really going to focus on that yet. I just want us to be able to understand networking first before we go into GetX or GetConnect. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to like just quickly create a new window for this. Now there are essentially 5 methods, all right? Or 5 kinds of HTTP methods. Yes, under the REST architecture, all right? You have the get, you have the post, you have the put, delete, and patch, all right? You have the get, post, put, delete, and patch. Now, first of the get method, GET, all right? Usually capital G. Please, just at any point you couldn't hear me or you lost me, just can call for my attention, okay? All right, so the get method is used to retrieve data from the server. Get method is used to retrieve data from the server, all right? The method simply takes in the URL of the location where the data resides and fetches it to the client, all right? So let me see if I should just, let me open a folder. Say, just in the basic folder. Let me say, HTTP methods. Okay, so I'm just going to use this. All right, so the method simply takes in the URL of the location. URL, of course, you know what URL is. So if we have some, let me just create a file. Let's say gets.dat. I'll just create a simple file, and then in it you have something like final, let's say response, okay. Well, if you're using the get connect, you have something like this, await dot get. All right. What's that name? Get connect. Okay. Dot get, and then you have your URL in here. Okay. You have your URL in here. So this is for the get connect. But of course, I'm going to be using an example, a Bitcoin app example to illustrate fetching, posting, updating, and deleting data. All right. But I just want to show you like what it looks like from the basis. Of course, we'll have errors because we're supposed to actually have dependencies like the HTTP package. All right. So now what is happening here is that we're using this to call the get method. All right. And it's going to fetch data from this URL. All right. So next on is the post method. The post method is used to add a new entry to the database. All right. The post method is used to add a new entry to the database. Now, let's say, for instance, for the get method, let me use an example for that. You want to fetch a list of movies, all right, to display on your screen. That's what this get method does. It searches the URL of the movie link and then fetches all the movies, depending on the kind of movies, maybe popular movies or trending movies or recent movies or most watched movies, depending, it just gets the data. Then for post method, all right, we provide it with the location of the directory in the form of URL and a map of the data we wish to upload. All right, let's say something like this time around, stop using this. Since that is for get, the next one will be for post, but here is going to be post, okay? And then of course you have your URL. This time around, you're gonna have something like key value, all right? So this key can be, let's say, name, all right? All right, this can be body, let's say bar, can have maybe user ID 1, all right? So this for a post, right? It's used to add a new entry to the database. So just like you want to sign up as a user, you are actually posting. You're not fetching. When you want to sign up on the form as a user, so you are adding, all right, a new entry to the database. You're adding your name, you're adding your gender, you're adding your email, you're adding your username, all right, your password, you're adding it to the database. This for post, okay? So more like creating a new post in the server by providing the name, the body, the user ID, all right, or whatever information you're posting. Now, then the third one is the put method. All right, the put method is used to update existing data on the server, All right, it takes in the URL pointing to the exact resource that needs to be updated and the new data that will replace it. All right. So this usually applies to your profile when you want to update, let's say, your date of birth. Maybe you didn't fill it, all right, in the when you were signing up, all right, or you want to update your bio, all right. So the put method comes in play here, and just like you have the post method, this time around you're having what you're having is put. Here will be put, all right. So it's used to update existing data on the server. That's the basic you need to know. We update the post by providing the URL of the post and the data of the new post. All right, we are updating this post. All right, when we do this. All right, so by the time, let's say we change this to Emeka. All right, change this to far. All right, of course, you can change user ID. Yeah, and so, some other details you can change, maybe like profile image. All right, profile image, though usually refers to link, but the things that you're not uploading a link is on the server, it converts it to a link or something or whatever. But when you're updating your image, let's say on WhatsApp now, this put comes into play. All right, it updates it. Okay, so then we have the delete method. The delete method is used to delete a data entry from the server database. All right, so what you just do is simply provide it the URL to the data entry and it deletes it. All right, so instead of put here, we'll be having delete. We'll be having delete. Okay, so that's for the fourth one. The patch method, which is the fifth one, is also used to update the data on the server, but with a slight difference. Unlike the put method, it does not entirely replace the data entry. All right, instead, it allows you to partially modify its data. All right, it allows you to partially modify its data. We can be selective with the fields that you wish to update and provide that to the method. All right, so that is it for patch. Okay, so that's what you need to understand about the HTTP methods. Okay, so in addition to passing data via the body parameter, okay, you can pass headers, content type, all right, and queries to all the methods. You can pass headers, content type, and queries to all the methods. Headers provide, let's say, I think there should be something similar to that here. Okay, now look at this. Okay, make a network request, return http.get. All right, this is without the getX, because like I said before, getX is a package on its own that has everything to do with networking, its controllers, how it manages its states, a mobile state. All right, so future http.response fetch album. All right, return http.get URI.parse this URL. So with this, you fetch a sample album from the JSON placeholder, this JSON placeholder, all right, using the HTTP get method, all right. Let's see if we have for posts. Okay, for now, it's just, okay, for now, it's just to get, that's what it did here. I think here you should have send data to the internet. Let's see. Okay, yes. How to create an album by sending an album title to the, so more like posting, you're sending data to the, on the get side, you are getting data from the server, all right, from the URL, the JSON placeholder. But on this side of it, you're actually sending, you send encoded data, all right? And then let's see, I think we should have updates here, updated here. So it's just usually like the same thing, the same steps as earlier before. Where it says puts, all right, response update album string to, all right, return his put, what I put in. I see you have headers here. All right. So you want to put of what you're actually trying to update. You want to update the title. Let's see. We have delete here. Network is set. So like I say, headers provide additional. Okay, I'm going to share my screen again. And this region looks like it's going to rain, but I just don't want this network to interrupt today's class because there's really so much I want to cover in this part. All right. So I believe you can hear me. Okay. So this delete data on the server. All right. So you can see here, delete album string ID. Now you are saying string ID because why? ID more like encompasses all of the data or the elements of it data. Like if you want to just delete someone's details, you don't need to go and start deleting name, email, username, picture, or whatever content the person have actually uploaded or posted before. Just single-handedly delete the ID. because inside this ID represents a user with name, with email, with picture, with username, with gender, everything. So you only just need to just delete the ID. And once that ID is deleted from the server, every other thing is gone. It's deleted. All right. So this is okay. I can remember I was saying something about headers. Headers provide additional information about an HTTP request or response. For example, authentication tokens. Okay, so content type specifies the format of the data being sent or received in an HTTP method, whether get, put, post, patch, or delete, such as JSON or HTML. There's also what we call queries. Queries are parameters appended to the URL in an HTTP request to provide details for the server to process, such as search criteria or filters, meaning there are instances where you have to like go to your WhatsApp app and then you click on the search field and then you try to type in, okay, you're looking for a particular message that somebody sent details of account and you want to just find that account details. So immediately you type and you click search, what happened? That query is implemented there. You are querying the server in search of a particular data, or you want to apply for you're looking for a particular data and you want to filter out, let's say searching through a list of jobs. Okay, and you specifically looking for a specific type of job, so you can filter. That is where query comes into play. All right, so queries, like I said, are parameters appended to the URL in an HTTP request to provide details for the server to process, such as search criteria or filters. Okay, so there's a whole lot to that. Then there's something you also need to know called response. Okay, let's see, because you see this response here. For every request you make, all right, you get a response class object that represents the data we get back from the server. When you make a request, it's just like, okay, you request to know from a vendor about the price of a particular item or selling goods, all right? You definitely get a response back that, okay, this is what this particular item cost, or this is what this particular set of goods cost, or this is what is available at the moment, and this is what is not available. You're getting a response because you made a request, right? So for every request you make, you get a response class object that represents the data you get back from the server. So you're requesting, and then you get a response back from the server. All right, it contains the status information. All right, now, whether the request succeeded or not. Okay, and also get to know that it may also contain the content requested by the client. Okay, so just know that this class object gives you access to all the information you need, such as the status code, all right, headers, and the body. All right, headers and the body. So there are actually a couple of, let me say, responses. You have response.body, You have response.headers, response.status, okay? Response.status code. The status code could be 200, could be 300, 400, 404, 500, you know, and a couple other, all right? So, let's see if I could use, wish I could use something. Okay, can actually do that. I'm not sure we have that here though. Okay, let me make use of this. Can you see this now? This is delete album. Okay, so await HTTP delete, all right, with its headers, string, content, application, this. Now, if response to status code is 200, this implies that if the server did return a 200, okay response, then return an empty album. After deleting, you will get an empty JSON, this response. All right, it says don't return null, otherwise snapshot.has data will always return false on Flutter, on future builder. Return album.empty. Now it says else, if the server did not return a 200 okay response, then throw an exception, fail to delete album. Okay, so this is example of response status code. So if you're sending a request, carrying out a request, whether on any of the method, the HTTP method, you should always get a response. Now, for a successful response, it must be 200 or 201, 200 or 201. But anything aside this, then that means it wasn't successful, or there's something that is missing, a particular body or a header that is missing, okay, that was not properly implemented. So that's what you need to know about this. So I'm going to quickly do something. Let's see. I'll go back to this because there's something I want to like. I'm going to delete this, but just take note of this. Of course, it's recorded, so you can always go back to that. I'm going to delete this. Okay. Now, I'm going to HTTP methods. I'll just close this. I'm going to go over to my GitHub account. Okay, now this is something that is already like the UI is already set up. All right, so I'm going to use this to make references to implement the get request, the post request, the put, all right, and delete, put or patch and delete, all right, method. So first of all, this is on my repo. So I'm going to come here. This will help you get familiar with using GitHub, Gits as well. So here I'm going to clone this repo. All right. So I'm going to come here, click on this, copy it, then go over to that particular, let's see. I'm going to go over to that particular folder, enter into it. It's empty, right? So I'm going to right click. I can use open in terminal or show order and then use git bash. Now here, I'm just going to say git init, all right, initialized empty git repository. Then I'm going to do git clone and paste that very link. this very link. Okay, and hit from GitHub into my laptop device, to my machine. Okay, this will not really happen to you. It's requesting because I have 2 GitHub accounts and from different projects. So it's asking me which one I want to use for this, or which is this. When I click accept, then it should clone my work. Of course, this will come in handy when you are now set for the project phase, because you're going to be doing a capstone project like internship, all right? So to get your hands, of course, so you're going to be working with another platform, having another GitHub account. So you have to be, should I say, either of this GitHub account or the other one. So it always request. But I actually did it in such a way that it does not always come up. It only comes up when I'm trying to clone or maybe I'm trying to push. But I actually set it up with access token once and for all, so that it just knows that, okay, this is this particular account that is working on this project, or is the other GitHub account that I'm using on this other particular project. Okay, so now I've cloned my work. All right, so I'm going to go code dot. Now, when I do this, I click enter, it pops up my VS Code, all right, with the data in it here. Now I say some packages are missing out of date. Would you like to get them now? Yes. Always try to run this, okay, so that you don't have errors. So if you want to see how well you're tracking changes from your GitHub account, you can come here. Here is source control. Okay, so you see that for every changes that you do, you push, you commit, you see them here. When you make a pull request, merge, you see here. So this part is for managing or tracking your changes on GitHub. Okay. All right. So is this Flutter Pocket that is running on that is actually doing this, setting things up. Okay, so here in this folder, I've just okay, let me just give it time. Should clear these things off. It should. Here in this presentation, I have app drawer widget, user form, user screen, utilize. Let's just wait to see that this thing works properly. Okay, so I think the error is off. Yeah. Okay, so here we have user service dot dat. Although I'm going to clear this off. Don't really need all of this here. Then we have user screen. You have user form. All right. Let me expand this so that you can see it properly. Then you have app drawer. This is in presentation folder. So just for the sake of this networking class, right? So this, all right. Now you can see these are changes. The only change I actually made physically on this file was this. So that's why it's here. This is the first commit I made. All right. Put this one down. Then all these are generated plugins, although they are not usually pushed to GitHub. Yeah, they are ignored files. All right. So we have app drawer. App drawer is like a side navigation bar that expands when you click on the menu button. Then you have user form. This user form, of course, I've taught you guys form. So this is just like a simple user form widget. All right. So inside it, you have a global key. All right. Void callback on submit. Then final map string dynamic. All right. These are declared. And then you have your any state, right? This only runs once when your app launches or when you just entering a screen, okay? And then you have your app bar. You have a widget.title text, widget.form key, widget.initial value, all right? Then form builder text field. This form builder text field is a package, all right? It's a package. You won't actually see it here. It's a package. So, but if I go to podsec.yaml, you find it here. Form builder. So this is more like using it for your forms. I know we're actually using text like that, but this one just has everything that I need. If I should form and just paste it here, I'll copy it here. Once I do that, it has all the things that I really need. Name, I just declare first name. Decoration, I declare okay, I'm going to share my screen again. All right, so what we have here is a form builder dropdown. Okay, so it's still part of that form builder package or dependency. This one has to do with dropdown. Instead of doing a custom build down drop down, this one just automatically, sets things up, and it makes building apps faster. All I just need to do is add the name, then male, female, or other, all right? Map drop-down menu item. That is when I click on the input field, and I can choose between male, female, all right? With a validator, of course, as well. Then what else? Field button, all right? Save. Now, then you have your user screen. User screen, here we bring in the app bar, then we bring in that drawer widget, place it here, all right? Takes care of that. It's a widget, we're just calling it here. If we had to just bring this into here, this will be so long before this body, all right? but you can see everything is just differentiated. So same thing what applies to building apps. Ensure your widgets, not just only button and text field, should be widgets, separate files under widgets. You can have other things too, all right? And all you just need to do is come to the main screen so that when you want to make updates or make changes, it's very easy to just locate the particular widget and just make the changes to it, rather than having a very long source code that you now have to be gently going through, because there are people that actually build apps like that their source code are so long. I came across one that was, I think, 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. I had to work on a project like that. The guys that had actually worked on the project, man, they included both logic and UI together in the whole screen, in one screen, just one file. So suddenly you'll be reading 1,000 plus, 2,000 plus source codes, line of codes. Yeah, I mean, it was a lot, but then I was able to still go through it and fix what needed to be fixed. All right, so this is your home screen, and then in here, we have Future Builder, list dynamic, all right? User service dot get users. Of course, there's something I'm going to do here. Yeah. If you look at this snapshot that has data, it's similar to what you have on that document on the website I showed you. Yeah, Flutter doc. And then you have first name, last name, okay? Now this first name, last name is actually coming from a particular server, all right, via a URL, okay? So let's see. Okay, you have a form key, update user, all right, on submit, this. Of course, there's something here we're going to call something here, deletes, but this deletes, because we're going to call something here. All right, so let me go over to the user's service. Here requires one to implement those methods, the gets, the HTTP methods, the get, the put, the post, all right, delete. Now, but first of all, there's something I want to just quickly run, because we already have like a HTTP, all right? Since we have it in our pub/sec.yaml, I'm going to quickly update this. I'm going to make changes to this place, because I'm going to have errors popping up from the user screen, but not to worry, okay? So since we have a class of user service, let's see, I'm going to be using a particular mock API, all right? That mock API, if I should, let's see, I know I wrote it somewhere, but anyway, when it comes to that, I'll get it. So first of all, let's just do a static right now. Let's see. This service instance of user service internal singleton users. We have to be very careful about using suggestions from okay, I'm just going to use this instance. Let's see here. I'm just going to change the variable to singleton. Singleton. It's a variable name. Okay, user service dot internal is. Let's go back to having user. Okay, And then, of course, we have static user services, get instance. Let's see. Okay, I think I need this too. All right, so this is done because this handles network. All right, so you can actually read more about this, that documentation, just get to it. Definitely. So here we're having final base URL. Yeah. Okay. So I'm just going to go to mock API. I think I should have that somewhere. Where is that now? Here. No. Okay. This should be it. Yeah. Just going to copy this. Well, because if you probably delete this, go mockapi.io. All right. It's email when it's subscription logout. Can go to docs, see that. All right, so I don't need this now, but I'm going to bring that and put here. Remove that. Yeah. So we've just initialized or declared a base URL, which is this. All right. Now, what I'm going to do now is just, okay, I'm not running this app yet. Let's see. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Okay. I'm going to declare the first HTTP method, okay, which is future response, or rather, now what we're actually dealing with is because you should understand whether it's a list, or right, or a map, or a list of map, all right, or a map of list and a list of map. You know, they're usually, but I made emphasis on the fact that when you're dealing with maps, all right, it's usually curly brackets. All right, you're dealing with maps, curly brackets. If you're dealing with list, square bracket. All right, so for this particular mock API now, I'm going to be making use of a list, okay, list dynamic, all right. List dynamic, and then this, all right. Then let's do get users, all right. Async, of course, I'm going to see I can explain all of this source code after this. Okay, so we're having is final response awaits get. Let's see. No. Of course, definitely we'll make use of the status code, but rather let's do this like step by step. So we'll have response, all right, and then response. I can also have response or just res, okay, sort of making it long because this is like a variable name, okay. So I just have rest equal to await, okay. This stands for asynchronous, right? Because why? When you're fetching data, you don't want to like be waiting till when it's done fetching, all right, before it displays. You want it such that while it's fetching the data, it displays the available data until it completely finishes. But then your screen will not be blank or empty. All right. So this is the reason for this async and wait. All right. So await then gets, okay. So it's bringing in this URI.parse. All right. Base URL. Let's see. Does this work? Now, this base URL is what we have here. And then we have users, but there's something that we need to add here, API/users. Now, this base URL is more like this long. So instead of copying all of this and placing in here, but rather I just declare this, all right? And then just bring part of it, just like code, so that it's now in a way shorter, all right? If not, we could also have it like this, /API/users. Okay, well, don't want that. Just link this way and then bring it this way. All right, so now we have that. Then we're now bringing that if rest.status code is that. Okay, let's see. Okay, now we can bring in this. If rest.status code is 200, return JSON the code. Rest.body, else true exception, fail to load users. Okay, so now we've just implemented one HTTP method, which is get users, get. All right. Now, how do we now make a call by calling this particular function? Because this is a function, all right? We'll now do that in the UI, all right? So I'm going to go here, and then this get users, though it's correct, but there's something I declared, instance. All right, so this is done, and I'm having 10 on this generated stuff. Work is not logging, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, all right, so I have this. So I'm going to save this work and then go back to this and save this work. So let's try to run this app and see what happens. So I'm going to go over to the main. All right, this is just basic. All right, not getX. So I'm not using getX for this. Not using super parameters. Okay. So this should display my home screen. So let's run this and see what happens. It should run on this. I'm going to close this. Use the screen size. And then bring up this. All right, so let's wait for it to run. A mock API is more like a dummy data that is available for users or developers to try and play around data, more like being able to fetch data, update data, I mean, within an app, just for tests, just to test or to try out networking, all right? So that maybe the app can be more interactive. That's why you have mock APIs. Mock APIs are just dummy data. They're just available to developers around to be able to relate or interact with their mobile apps. or their web apps, depending on where they are actually implementing it. Okay, so let's see. So while we wait for that to actually run, now you might be wondering, like, what is API? Okay, API is an acronym for Application Programming Interface. Okay, so an API lets two applications talk to each other. All right, Application Programming Interface. All right, so and I would love to actually use maybe like a movie database that contains information about popular movies and TV shows to actually also show you how to consume APIs, all right, how to use APIs. And there are two different ways. Now, this one that we did now does not require you having an API key, all right? It only just requires you to have URL. And everything is available in that single URL, okay? But for that of the movie database, it requires you to have an API key, all right? And an API key is a unique identifier given to a user, app, or developer to be able to make API requests, all right? It is used to track the number of requests made by the app. Okay, so if you're going to be making use of an API, you just have final space API key equal to quotation mark, single or double quote. Then you enter your API keys. While this one is running, let me just go over to show you how this is done. So I'm going to go over to, let's see, I think I should have this one. All right, so this is my account. Of course, I'm logged in. You have the moviedb.org. All right, so you can actually take note of this very website. I might actually post it on the Discord channel so that you can actually do yourself. So you're going to sign up, and then when you sign up, you're going to have to verify your email. So they'll send you an email. You go to your inbox, all right, and then verify your email. Then when you do that, you come over to this place here and then go to settings, all right? In this settings, you see API, all right? Although I've gotten mine, but you come here and then click on API, and then here you have API offers a powerful API service that is free for personal use. Please ensure you attribute this for blah, 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 blah. Okay. So then API details, test your API credentials by clicking here. You can also edit the details of your app by clicking here. If I should click here, I think this is the form you're going to see. This is part of the form anyway, not all of it. This is part of the form that you're going to fill for you to get your own specific API key. Yes, you need to have your own specific API key, all right? So when you have that, like this is my own API key, and then you have read access token, all right? So, and you, of course, definitely you need to be logged in to do this after you've registered your account. Now, when you do that, then, okay, I think our app is running now. So let's go back to finish that first. We'll come back to this later. All right, so our app is running. Okay, you can see my name here. That's because I actually updated this. All right, so now what just happened is that this mobile app, this network now has actually fetched users So it has gotten or retrieved number of users on this very app. Right? On this very app, these are the number of users that have actually registered on this app. So it just fetched the users. All right. Now, we will try to, let's say, this way you try to add. Okay. Let's see if we can add something. Let's have junior, last name, code, gender, male. Let's try and see. Let's see. Do we have junior? Do we have anything like junior? We don't have anything like junior. There's no junior here. There's no junior here. All right. And the reason why there's no junior is because we needed to be able to make a post request, all right, based on this, all right, so that when we click on this plus button and then you click on save, it should save the person's name, surname, and gender and reflect it on the user screen. All right. So in this form here, no, this thing keeps. Okay. So in this form here, this is where the form is. All right. But we need to be able to introduce the post request. So let's go over to the user service. We already have the base URL. Now, what happens if I probably like, let's say, I remove this, click save. What do you get? Exception, failed to load users. Failed to load users. Can you see? Now that's because I'm not getting a 200 success, a status code of 200. No, it's failing. Why? Because there's something wrong with the URL. Of course, if you want to see the results or the output, you can come here and do a print, okay? A print statement, and then users fetched successfully with, let's say, REST body, REST, calling this. But right now, it's throwing this exception, failed to load users. That's what you're having here on the screen here. So let's go back and put that users and then save. Can you see now? It's been able to get the data based on this URL. Now let's do a post request. And the post request is similar though, but this time around we're making use of a post. Let's see. Feature void, create user map, string, dynamic user, blah, 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 blah. Feature. Here I'm going to make use of dynamic. Okay. Create user. Map string dynamic. Okay. It's just so tempting to run. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to bring this in map string. It's very important that you actually get to, type. I'm going to use data here, not actually user. So that your hands get familiar with this and you also get to become familiar, yeah. So in here now, we have, just like we have response res, okay? Response, response res, await, okay? Then post. Now this post, of course, we're still going to have this URL. Okay, we have this minute here. Now this need to have headers and body. Because I just place this here. Turn connection. Okay. Now introduce headers and body. Okay. Headers and body. So we can do this. All right. But just in case, maybe you just want to have it initialized, where instead of maybe bringing this on, you can just declare it above. But not to worry. This one is also fine. All right. So we have this, and then let's see. Okay. So now where do we bring in our if? We'll come here and do if this is this, this is that. Okay. If response.status code is equals to 201, all right? Or, because I told you that it could either be this or that. All right? 201 or 200. Print this or return, not all return, but it's going to print this and then return the JSON decode res.body. Else, throw exception field to create user. All right, so we're going to save this, but then where do we place this create user, create user? So we're going to go to our user form. Where do we have the save? We have first name, widget does submit. I don't think it's here. Let's go here. All right, I think it's here. So in here, we're going to have, you can see it's already even bringing it up. I have await, this, all right, user service dot instance. So you're actually calling that class of user service, which is this user service dot instance dot create user. this create user, if I should click on this, it leads me to this, right? So, and then, of course, we need, what do you call it now? Funky, yeah, we need this. And then this. Remember, this foreign key, form key, okay, has to do with the current state. If there's a data or if you've actually typed into the input field, all right, so it's checking to verify, all right. So it awaits and it shows that the value placed in the feed box, all right, takes in that and then saves it. So I'm going to save this now. And then I'm going to go over to the app. And then I'm going to say junior what is maybe like this. Last name, code, gender, male. And then I click save. Let's see if we can find junior here. We should be able to find junior. Let's see. Junior is supposed to actually appear at the base. Or is it that the change has not reflected? Okay, reflected. This save this. Okay. You can see here it says users fetched successfully instance of response on my debug console. So I should be able to see Junior now. Let's see. How am I not seeing Junior? Something's not right here. I was supposed to actually say Junior because users fetched successfully. Okay. Well, before then, I got users. Okay. Look this. I'm suddenly having 10 key source control. They just, I don't know. Okay, let's search again and see. Junior. Why is Junior not present? Because if user created successfully, it ought to display on the user screen. Create user posts. Yeah. Let's see. Users successfully or users user created successfully. I'm not getting this response. Why? Because we have Visual API users. Big post, yeah, we'll pass this body adjustment headers. Refresh the status code, or is this something that is on that? Okay. Let's see. I'm seeing yeah. Date user. Okay, this is supposed to contain both create user and update user. Let's see. In here we have this. Let me try and implement all. Yeah, see. I'm going to implement all that as well. Going to make use of this. Place this here. Then I'm going to change this to date user. Let's see. So when I post to update user, we're going to update user string. Okay. Now, so going to be this or this users user updated. successfully. All right. Then we can have for deletes. For delete, is on the face of updates user. So I'm going to probably do same for delete. But delete doesn't need the header and comment. So I'm going to copy this and put, remember, it must be inside the user service class. Okay, delete is already doing this. All right. Now, notice the difference here is ID. This ID, so it's bringing it here. I should delete this. We have an error here. So if res status code is 200, fail to delete user or unable to delete user, whichever the case may be, right? So let's see where we can update this particular what we call it now, UI. So if that is saved, because this already handles, let's see, if I should delete, does it work? Okay, it doesn't. So where do we have delete? Yeah, we have this delete user, await user service and instance, delete user data index ID. All right. So we'll save that. Then what about our updates? This for delete, we should have for update. Okay, I think this is for update user. This is for update user, not create, because what I'm seeing here is update. So let's see. Okay, let's go to our user form. Let's see. Pressed here, widget.onSubmit. It's actually widget, so it's a widget. So and on the screen, we're either calling both let's see. This is for update user. This should update user. Then show a dialog, which is the delete or update. Okay, if confirm this, then this part of this are missing. Here, I think that's why it's not. So let's try and add now. Junior. Down. We'll see. Sure. Something missing there. What is it I'm missing? So we're actually calling this here. You should say okay.
Incoming call from Emmanuel Lalaki and
Yeah, sorry about that. Okay, so it's supposed to be having Junior. That is the activity for posting. Let me see if I can update, if update works. If update works, or delete, I'm going to delete this. Okay, delete works, it deleted that. Let me see, or is the database full? Delete macro. Okay, delete works. Then what if I should update this to Junior? Junior. Okay, okay. I think the database has a limit here of what it can hold, because I'm saying Junior again and Junior. I'm sure this is the first one I created, and then this is the one I updated. So I have to actually delete items to be able to, yeah. Let me update this to my, just put the, and then save. All right. So I think the server or database has a limit to what it can hold. All right, so you have to delete to create space, more space. All right, so we can see now that we are able to fetch, first of all, or retrieve names of users. We're able to post, all right, a user, update a user, and then delete a user by ID. Because as soon as you delete a user's ID, the name, the surname, and the gender goes away. All right, so that's what happened. So we had to implement this create user and update user. By this way, you are actually calling, all right, either of these HTTP methods. All right, so please take note of this. You're going to be needing this very, very often. This one is like a constant. All right, it can be in your constant folder. All right. This is 141. Okay, so there was something I was saying about this. Yeah, so I already created this. So what I intended to do was to actually show you how to consume API from this. So what you do is from here, go to please, I'm playing popular. Okay. Where was I? All right, so from here now, you just go to test your API credentials by clicking here. So of course, documentation is here too. You can actually open this, and so I'm going to right click and open a new tab and switch to that new tab. So let me just quickly show you this. All right, so this is the documentation, all right, getting started. Take note that you need to like copy your, use your API key, either using your API key or your access token, all right? Then you come to API references. Now you can see a lot of gets posts method, but mostly especially get. Then you have delete, you have post, okay? You have get, a lot of gets, post and then delete, all right? So how this works is that, for instance, let's say you want to display, um, movies, all right, trending movies, all right. So let's say in our movies here, let me see, I think there should be trending movies around here. Let me go down. You can see you have your search. This is for querying, all right, searching for movies. Okay, you have trending movies here. So I'll just go to this and click here, all right. Now in here, we can see movies, then get, this is the URL for trending movie. Every method here has its own URL that is pointing specifically, all right, a particular movie or person or user or TV show or whatever. So this one particularly. So let me just give you a very interesting hint here. Now, you can actually get to view your response. Let's say, for instance, here, let's look at this now. On the right side here, you have language. Language could be Node, all right? This is Node. This is Ruby. Of course, all these are backend, all right? They are the one backend actually gets to set up the endpoints. So I work mostly with Pythons. They are more familiar with Pythons, even Node.js, because Node and Pythons are actually programs mostly used for REST APIs. Okay, so let's say now you want to see what the response from this. What you can do is try it. Click on try. Now it says 200 results. Just wait for it to load. You can see it has header, which is this. This is my access token, all right? Because I'm logged in. In here, you have URL. You have your headers, accept application /JSON, authorization, bearer, my access token, response request.get URL, headers equals headers, print response.text. So what I'm expecting to see here is the result. Okay, this should quickly load. But if that's the case, I'm going to like take this URL, all right, up to this point, copy it, and then let's see if we can actually get to I'm going to copy it or paste it here. Now, after pasting it here, I'm going to go back to my and then copy this particular API key, go back, and then question mark API key equal to, this is my API key here, but the only thing I'm adding here is this. Let me do it like API hyphen small letter key equal to, and then that's my API key. And then when I click enter, if you actually do it on your browser, you're going to see what displayed before. You see a lot of codes written like in a very scattered state. Of course, there's no way you'll be able to make sense with that. So that's why it's appearing this way. All right. So here you have results, 15 items. Okay. Now it says added false, backdrop path, this, ID, this, title, Demon Slayer, Kimetsu, okay. This, I think it's Japanese or something, or Chinese. Original title, this. I don't understand what that means anyway. Then overview. There's Demon Slayer calls members and this and blah, blah, blah. This is a JSON format. All right. You have post part, media type. So now this is displaying all results from this particular UI based on my API key. All right, let's go back to see if it actually displayed the result. This one is still loading. Now, the reason why it's actually displaying this way, let's go, displaying this way is because of an extension called JSON Viewer Pro. All right, let me see if I can disable it or reload. Okay, this is how it will usually normally appear on your web browser. Okay, you can see page one, results, data false, backdrop, part, this, ID, this, title, Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaba, Infinity Castle, original title, this. But you looking at this now, you can't really like say, make sense with this. So that's why you actually need this. So I'm going to bring in this and reload. And it just arranges everything. All right. So this is one of it. This is the second. This time around, we'll have how to train your dragon. All right. So this endpoint is available for consumption. All right. So if you can be able to set it up, all right, with your API keys. Of course, I actually did something, but that will not be in today's class. That will be in the next class. But from what has been taught today, get to familiarize yourself with the HTTP methods, okay? Get to familiarize yourself with that, because I know time will not really be enough to do a lot, because I didn't want to start designing the UI and all that. So that's why I had to clone, all right? And then so if I'm going to like push my work, what I need to do is click on, go to my terminal, this HTTP method, because I'm going to enter into CD CRUD operations. Yeah. Now I'm inside the application. I click on add dot, no, git add dot. Okay. And I click on git add dot. It adds the changes, and then git commit -m. Okay, and then let's say what did I do? Maybe a feature. I call it a feature, and then implemented HTTP methods. All right, I click on this, and the info file is changed. Okay, and then we'll have what again? Git push. Since I'm the only one on this very repo, but if I were to be working with teams, all right, collaborating with other developers, I'll have to first of all do a git pull origin main, all right, that is the main branch or the dev branch, which is actually like the base branch, like the very main branch where every changes is being merged into. All right, so I do a git pull origin main. Yeah, I do a git pull origin main, then I wait for it. Of course, this will come up. All right, it said already up to date. So I'll now go over to do git push. Now, the reason why it's saying already up to date is because nobody else, I'm not working with any other developer that might have pushed his work, and probably his work has been merged. It is only when I'm working with a developer, collaborating with many developers, all right, and they have pushed their work and their work has been reviewed and merged, then I'll need to update my work, what I'm working with, my current branch, all right, with the changes, and then push, all right. So if then push origin name of the branch, CRUD operations. Okay, then click enter. Okay, why? CRUD operations dot not. Oh, okay, not CRUD operations. I'm still actually in the main. All right. So actually, if I'm to push this, okay, let me do this then. Let's push, let's do a git checkout to a new branch. Let's say bit HTTP. I'll just use that method. It says switch to a new branch, right? So after switching to a new branch, I'm going to now do a git push, or yeah, git push. Let's see. This time around is going to be bit HTTP slash no methods. This should work. Yeah. Okay, so it has pushed my work now. So the next thing to do is to maybe create a pull request. So if I should go to that particular branch, let's see, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Operations. Yeah, so here it says compare and pull request. So if I come here, then I can create a pull request. Now you see that the changes I made were 4 files changed. All right, then I create a pull request. Now, when you're making a pull request, I can be able to review and then comment on your source code, but do not merge. You're not to merge, because when you start working on a project as a team with other colleagues, you're not given liberty to actually merge your own code. It's required that me or a higher authority, okay, gets to review and merge your code. And always avoid comments. All right, remove comments. Yes, there shouldn't be comments on your work. No print statements. All right, and in your internship, you also get to learn how to work with tests, whereby by the time you do a pull request, it's only approved to be merged if it does not fail CI/CD test. Yes, although that is not applicable now, but during that time, you get to understand how it works. So it's checking for the ability to merge automatically. All right. So when you've created a pull request, it comes here, and then you can give someone, let's say, request 15 reviewers, but there's nobody here now because it's just me. This is just my account. So you request for someone to review and then merge. You can assign this to yourself. All right. And then you can add descriptions, upload pictures or screenshots, all right, in here by coming in here and then doing an edit and add your file. All right. So when you're giving, when you see a comment on your work, on your repo, and then you resolve it and then request for a review again, you see that it's fine. All right. So this is 1:58. It's almost 2 p.m. Yeah. So we've come to the end of today's class, and please do well to refer to that document, watch the video again, and practice more. So I'm going to stop recording.